Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Soviet Tier 10 medium tank, the Object 430. Now this is one of the options that you've got off of the 430 version 2 to unlock, because you've got this, the K91 and the 430U. Now all three tanks are very different playstyles, and that is that the 430U is basically a heavium. It's basically a heavy tank more often than not. You can play it very aggressively, you've got very good armour, and you've got a gun that slaps pretty hard, but it's not got the best DPM in the universe, and its gun can be a bit derpy. And then you got the K91, which has pretty decent DPM these days because it got buffed significantly, and it plays a lot more like the Object 430 version 2 that you've just been playing for so long. It's also got a pretty damn nice 100mm gun. And then you've got the Object 430, which used to be the ugly duckling of the objects. It used to be the ugly duckling of the Russian medium tanks that you could get at tier 10, and yeah, it's because it basically it had the same gun as the T62A and the Object 140. It had the best DPM out of the three by like 100, but its gun was far more derpy. So it had like 0.38 accuracy instead of the 0.34 and 0.35 of the other two, essentially. And it also has slightly different armour layout than the other two as well, which made it slightly better in some situations and slightly worse in others. So on the whole, you were never really going to pick the 430 out of this, the 140 and the T62A. You were never going to pick it, because the 140 for the longest time was the dominant one out of the three. Then they buffed the T62A like 4 times, which makes the tank absolutely phenomenal, and basically probably a little bit too good if I'm honest at tier 10. Which meant that you were never going to pick the 430 again, because you just picked the T62A because the tank was a beast, and then you've got the 140, which is ever so slightly off of the T62A in terms of how good it is in performance. Yeah, and so the ugly duckling of the three, the 430, meant that you were just going to sit there and go, no, I'm not going to pick that. But then they changed the 430. And what do I mean by they changed it? Well, they added something to it. And that is, they added this 122mm gun. So basically, they added the gun that the PC version has. Because if you didn't know, on PC, they basically simplified the tech tree a little bit, added some extra things. And they basically moved the Object 430 from tier 10 down to a tier 9. And then it led to the Object 430U. I'm pretty sure it is. But when they changed it from tier 10 to tier 9, they added a 122mm gun and obviously made it tier 9ified. We've got a tier 10 version of that 122mm gun, and it's absolutely phenomenal. These two replays that you are seeing here, the first replay is with a camo net and not vertical stabilizers. The second replay is with vertical stabilizers. If I'm honest, this first game was the last game I did with the camo net because it annoyed me. The gun just decided it wanted to be derpy, because it is a derpy gun. But the DPM of the gun is utterly phenomenal. I believe it's one of the best, if not the best, DPM on a medium tank at tier 10. It fires so damn quickly for 390 alpha. You've got a base reload of 7.6 seconds, which is ridiculously fast. You've got a 2.5 second aim time, which does take a little bit to aim in, but on the whole, it doesn't feel too bad. You've got a 0.4 accuracy as well, and the reason that I feel like the vertical stabilizer is the best thing for the tank is because the bloom is quite big, and if you run vertical stabilizers, it doesn't bloom out nearly as much, and thus you don't have to wait for the aim time anywhere near as much, pretty much. Yeah, 0.4 accuracy isn't the best, so that's why I kind of just want to make the view range, the accuracy as good as possible. You have 246 pen on the standard AP rounds, with 311 on the premium APCR, 920 velocity on the AP, 1150 on the APCR, which isn't the best. It's not the best for the AP pen. For the APCR velocity, yeah, so it's okay. It could be better. It could definitely be better. But it's not terrible. And this gun is, yeah, like I say, if you can keep yourself in a position to just keep firing, it just trashes the enemy tank so much. But like I say, in this first replay, you are seeing a bit of the problem with the gun at times, and that is it just likes to miss. But This is also the benefit of having a crew with camo and a camo net. because we've flanked back to this position at A3, and we are using our concealment as much as we can to start farming things like this AVRE. And if we hadn't got a camo net here, there's a high chance that we might have been spotted quite easily from this little position. But because we had the camo net and it was reducing our camo a hell of a lot, we managed to keep going and going and going until we managed to shut those guys down. So in terms of a crew on the Object 430, I do run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Trap Mechanic, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, and Camouflage Expertise. Camouflage Expertise because it does have good camo, being a Soviet medium tank, and I want to make it better, but all the gun perks because it does have point for accuracy, which isn't great, and I want to help that accuracy as much as I humanly can by having all 3 gun perks. And then Trap Mechanic because, well, you could take or leave Trap Mechanic, if I'm honest, because you can be a bit more brawly in it. You can side scrape in the 430, but if you do that, you want to have Trap Mechanic to be able to put the tracks back on really quickly, because obviously if you get tracks blown off, that's not a good time for the most point when you're facing things like AVREs and that. They can just derp you in the side and not do damage anyway. And in terms of equipment, like I say, this game you're seeing here, and you're seeing with the gun handling at times as well, we're not running vertical stabilizers, but I was running the advanced loader, the camo net, and optics. And with the camo net, you were seeing how good the camo is. So if you can live with the gun handling, run the camo net. But what would I recommend, or what would I recommend after I played it quite a few times, and I was getting annoyed with the gun a lot of the time? Advanced loader, vertical stabilizers, and optics. Optics to be able to spot for yourself, because you always want to be able to spot for yourself in a medium tank. That way you can maximize everything you do, basically, and assistance damage is always lovely to get. And vertical stabilizers to make the gun as good as possible, with the advanced loader to make this DPM that is on this tank absolutely insane, because it does have insane DPM, and it's always great to make it as good as possible. So this first game, as you can see, we've managed to get 4.6k damage and 686 assistance. We're on 4 kills so far, and there is just this E4 left. He was looking at me, so I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that, but he started to turn around, so thus we are going to turn and try and get a shot into this E4. But unfortunately we bounce off his low plate. We're just using the camera to aim around the corner to see if we can, well, you know, watch him for turning. He is now turning around, so we're just going to start farming the shells into this guy. And as you can see with a food boost, we're up to a 5-second reload. We're down to a 5-second reload. That's absolutely phenomenal. And we managed to get the shot in to finish off this E4 and shut him down. And we're up, well, we finished the game as the victory, top of the team, 5 kills, 5.7k damage, 686 assistance, the ace tanker, and 1750 base XP. Really nice game for the Object 430. Showing off the gun, well, it's just showing off the camo of the tank and how good it can be when you run a camo net, but also how extremely derpy that gun can be without things like vertical stabilizers. And now we're on to the second replay. And the second replay, weirdly enough, is on the same map of Fisherman's Bay. The exact same spawn. What are the chances, when you have that good game and it happens to be the same map, same spawn? What are the chances? We are running the vertical stabilizers this time, so the gun is now as good as we can humanly get it to without running vents, because obviously if you run vents, that would make everything else just that little bit better. So as you can see, I'm taking an early shot, and we missed. We missed our target. I meant to shoot this building here, but I missed. And we do actually hit it that time because, you know, we could see it. So we got one shot into it, and we're just trying to push into position to shoot the Conqueror, which would be a lot easier, actually, if this building in front of me was gone, because when it crosses the open, that building does block a lot of the shot line that I will have into that Conqueror. We've also got these pesky light tanks running around, and as you can see here, vertical stabilizers are a beautiful thing. Go away, artillery. They're a beautiful thing. 2 shots we snapped into that light tank and into the Conqueror. You are seeing the difference. Look how little this gun has bloomed now with vertical stabilizers, alright? I'm not kidding. The vertical stabilizers make a humongous difference with this gun. Massive difference, and you really want to make the most of the gun, because obviously the key strength of the tank is the DPM. The DPM is absolutely nutty, and thus you want to make sure that you're maximizing that by hitting every shell you can humanly hit, and by doing that, obviously you want to make the gun as good as possible. You do only have 5 degrees of gun depression with the 430, which is extremely Soviet. So just bear that in mind when you are playing ridge lines, that you really do have to over-peak at times. But when you play these Soviet medium tanks enough and you play with 5 degrees of gun depression tanks, you eventually sort of learn the nuances behind where you want to be to make the most of 5 degrees of gun depression. And now we've caught out this 268. So we're just going to start going ham on this guy with our DPM, and he just has completely ignored us. And it's like, thank you, Mr. 268. If you want to ignore me, that's perfectly fine. Unfortunately, we don't lead that shell well enough, which means he's just about to get away from our gun, which is really sad. Should have led that better. But now we're going to poke over and start farming these guys in front of us. We get a shot into the leopard there, and then we get hit twice by things from the back. And it's like, oh, I didn't expect there to be things back there, because we got shot from K3, K4, which means there's something back there unspotted, and I thought if it was to fire, we would probably end up seeing it, or there just wouldn't be anything there because there was a TD already spotted back there, and unfortunately, there was things back there that we couldn't see. We do manage to get the 3 shots in to shut down the RU, however, fairly lucky that he didn't pen us, but the armour on the 430, like I say, is pretty decent, and when you're facing tanks like an RU that's got like that 215 pen or something like that on the standard APCR, they're not going to go through you guaranteed every time if they hit your upper plate. The lower plate, sure, but upper plate, not too often. And thankfully for me, the Bulldog ends up getting hit by artillery. Nice shot in 40-43. And that's good, because that means that one of their spotters is gone. The Leopard PTA, you can see, I want to go get him, but we are being so careful, because we got shot from back there at K45. I don't want my game to end at this point. The artillery ends up getting spotted from back there. We get artillery detected, so I'm being very careful as to not get just shot by him. Now we're unspotted, though. We're going to poke around and see if we can get shot into it. But he ends up pulling back, so we can't get any into the artillery. But there is the Sturm Tiger P, which was spotted up. And the camo, again, of the 430. And the fact that the Sturm Tiger P doesn't have the best view range in the universe means that we can absolutely farm this guy up. Unfortunately, that shot doesn't pen. Okay, and the Tortoise ends up shutting down the Sturm Tiger P. We've now got shots into the T58 Heavy, which ricochets off his turret. Sad times. 246 pen is a little bit awkward sometimes, and against a tank like the T58 Heavy, it will bounce it where you think you might probably have actually penned that guy. Now I'm starting to think, though, I should probably start to move in. I want to try and get as close to the ridgeline that's at where the medium tank's spotted currently, because I can get some mad amounts of assistance if I push forward and spot them. Also, again, vertical stabilizers on the move shot helping. And thus, I can also get under their gun line. Thankfully, the Progetto 65 ends up bouncing off us with heat, and we get a bit of the spotting on that guy, and he's gone. We're now under the gun line, which is where we wanted to be, and we're going to see if we can get any shots at these people while we're moving in without getting shut down ourselves. The Waffle is just showing us his side, but we couldn't quite get the shot into it. We know there's 2 guys, and now make that 3 guys in this corner. So what we're going to do is push up onto this ridge in front of me, and we're going to use it to leverage ourselves so that we will have the gun depression to shoot the T30 in the corner, because we should hopefully be safe from the guy on the left as well. So we get a shot into the T30, just waiting for the reload to come in, and hopefully we can get a nice shot into his back end. Aimed for where the engine generally is, so that we might have set him on fire, but we didn't quite do that. We get detected, and I thought the guy in the corner was still alive, but he's not. Unfortunately enough, we managed to swivel round and smash a shot into the CDC to shut him down and finish the game with a really great total for the Object 430s. 2 kills, 7.8k damage, 2.7k assistance nearly, the ace tank of the high caliber, the Confederate, 1786 base XP, another really nice game for the Object 430. Showing off that 122mm gun, and showing off 2 sides to the coin as well, where you can set up to be more stealthy, or you can just set up to have that filthy gun handling with really good DPM. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!